In this video, I would show you exactly how I would make $10,000 plus months like I've been doing for the past couple of years selling digital products, and exactly how I've been coaching other people to do the exact same in their business. Now, I will, go ahead and let you know right now there is a caveat to this video because number one, there's probably a whole bunch of different ways that you can start making $10,000 plus months selling digital products. However, I'm going to show you one of the ways that I coach and one of the ways that I teach and what's been working for a lot of people. Number two, I don't know exactly where you are in your business, right? You might have resold somebody else's digital product right now and you're struggling with it, or maybe you're getting into selling somebody else's digital product, or you created your very own digital product based around your story, which is me too. Now, I've seen both sides of the spectrum, meaning in 2023, I made six figures reselling other people's digital products. To then 2024, I created my own, which is now my app, right? And I've made even more money than that consistently, okay? However, this is still how I sell it. The content might just change slightly depending on your niche and what digital product you have, meaning if you created your own versus, you know what I mean, you're reselling somebody else's. But this is what I would do if I was just starting out all over again. And I wanted to make this video because, I saw a TikTok video today where a lady was talking about how we live in a different type of social media. And she was right. And she said it's not really based on followers anymore. She was right about that too. It is amazing now that it is totally different to where back in the day it was all about followers. And if you were most known, where now it's kind of like you can have more followers and post a video and get a certain amount of views. I could have less followers, post the video, and probably get more views because now it's based on kind of like the content and the relatability to the person. However, this lady then goes on to say, so just post whatever you want. And I'm like, I don't know about that. Okay. I do believe in expanding a little bit your content, right? And showing different sides of you in your life. But ultimately, if I wanted to sell a digital product, right, I am still going to keep my content a little bit narrow, right? Because ultimately, I know that one minute video, right, is not going to tip these people over to the scale to go buy, right? Generally speaking, I have to be direct with my message over and over. And that consistency builds trust. And that consistency makes it more believable. If I was wishy-washy all the time, would you even know what I do or why I do it? No. And here's the other crazy caveat that nobody ever wants to talk about. Building a personal brand online is probably one of the best ways that you can make money. Now, how many people, want to take the time to build the personal brand? Generally speaking, when somebody creates a product, when they want to make money off of it? Tomorrow, right? Or yesterday, actually, right? They want it now. Nobody really wants to put in the reps of building a personal brand. So it's not to say that you can't, intertwine your personal brand, your uniqueness with your digital product. And this is exactly why I teach people to share their story. And in fact, I've been on this, push lately, like your story, your story, your story. And I'm going to actually share with you right now how I would go around selling my digital products if I was starting all over again. And what we're going to do is we're going to just base this one right off of TikTok. You can kind of do it off of Instagram. You can kind of somewhat do it right off of YouTube as well. But let's go with just TikTok for right now. What I would do is I would pretty much create a brand new TikTok, okay? And in that new TikTok, I am going to put inside of my bio where they should go, like what I do and where they should go, right? So I generally want to have a website. Now, if you know anything about TikTok, your first 1,000 followers, like if you're below 1,000 followers, you do not have a clickable link, okay? That could change, seeing as how nobody cares about followers anymore. But as of right now, you will not have a clickable link. It does not matter. I know people with 300 followers still having $600 days. You see what I'm saying? Because it doesn't really matter about that. These people will go if they're really interested in you and they really want to make money with you, okay? Or really want to buy whatever it is you're selling. Now then, once I tell people what I'm doing and where to go to either get more information, grab a freebie, whatever it is, right? My website, right? Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go reach out to top creators in my niche, if you will, right? Now, these are one of those things that were very beneficial back in the day. They're not as beneficial anymore, but I would still probably go do this just because I would still want to intertwine with these type of people. One, sometimes maybe for some general ideas, right? But number two, really it's just to kind of show where I'm going, who I am, what I do. And the reason why is because in the very beginning, nobody really knows me and how I can help them. So I really want to get it across about I want to narrow this down just slightly. Like, hey, this is who I am. This is what I'm all about. This is where I'm going. And this is how I help people. So once I go, to the search bar and I look up my niche or whatever, I'm going to go to a few top creators and I might follow about 4 or 5 of them. But their videos, I'm going to go and engage, right? If they have a lot of engagement, I'm going to go engage in their comment section, right? Now, it doesn't mean I'm going to go steal their lead. So if somebody says info, I'm not going to go to that person and I'm not going to engage with that, right? I'm talking about if they got a video and there's a whole bunch of people just talking in there, like saying, oh, man, you did this awesome or whatever, right? I'm going to reply to those comments because those are my people too. You see what I'm saying? So if I am selling a digital product that helps moms, let's say, right? And then I go to the top creators in the mom section, right? Then I'm going to go into the comments and I'm going to engage because most likely other moms are engaging in those comments. Does this make sense? So I'm going to spend a few minutes there, right? And this is before I even post anything. All right. Now, when we get to the posting, I'm going to generally probably post 2 to 3 times a day consistently. All right. Now, this is where a lot of people get it wrong, right? When you start posting, the 3 areas that I really want to hang around, it doesn't mean that I can't share a lifestyle post. It doesn't mean I can't share an opinionated post or a controversial post. It doesn't mean I can't share, tips or tricks or anything of that nature. It doesn't mean none of that stuff. It just means this, okay? And it doesn't mean it doesn't even mean that you can't make a connection post every now and then as well. Just kind of like what that lady was saying. But what the majority of my content is going to be around is 3 different types of categories. Number 1, my own personal story. What led me to my digital product? Meaning, and if you created your own digital product, great. What led you to creating your own digital product, right? If you bought a digital product and you're reselling it, great. What led you to this? For instance, if I was in $10,000 of debt and I knew I needed to do something different with my life, and so I decided to invest in this digital product, and I wanted to go off and resell this digital product to make money. That's what I would talk about. My story. What happened and what did it lead me to? What happened? What did I find? Right? So it would be like, 10 freaking $1,000 in credit card debt. Of course, I couldn't believe it. Me and my wife were sitting there living paycheck to paycheck. So of course this was going to happen. And of course, it brought on another fight because we were just not getting out of debt. And I knew that something needed to change. Recently, I came across, see what I mean? So it's like I'm setting up the scenario of my life of what was going on to then what I found as my solution. Myron Golden, he made a video one day and it made a lot of sense. He says, most people will not trust you to lead them to pleasure, but they will trust you enough to lead them away from pain. What does that mean? That means if I come in and I just say, hey, imagine a beautiful lifestyle, guys. Imagine making $30,000 a month. This is great. All you got to do is sign up here. Most people are going to be like, scam, bullshit. I don't believe it. But if you say, hey, man, I was going through this. I had this problem. And this is what I found. Some might say, man, I'm going through that same problem. Let me see what you got. Because they want to get away from the pain. Does this make sense? So what happened? What was your turning point to what did you find? Same thing if you created your digital product, right? What was going on in your life that led you to this? Like for me, I was reselling digital products But I knew that what was really kind of getting me was the fact that I was learning about mindset, because I knew that I was a reflection of my business. So I started talking about that. Even now, what am I doing? I've been telling my story and made money. This is why I do my own app, that help people tell their story, because this is what I found, is that telling my story made me six figures, right? See what I mean? Now, when you're going to tell your story, do you see me talking about, everything? Like, people know that I'm a felon. Okay. Do you know like everything that came with that? Like, being in second chance leasing places with roaches and stuff, having to live out of like hotels a few times and everything, having to lie on an application for Nordstrom's to sell women's shoes because, you know what I mean? Because at the time, I knew that they did not do background checks, right? Did I explain all that in these 1 minute videos? No. I started just talking about what happened and what did I find that led me to the digital product. Because if I go too much into the story, people want to give me sympathy. People just want to say, "Oh, I'm so glad," or they just want to give me a high five for making it out. But if I say, "Yo, this is what I was going through and this is what I found," now people are, "I'm in with you. You found a solution to my problem that I need." You see where I'm going with this? All right. Second thing is your product. Why do you like your product? What are the benefits of your product, right? Now, if you created your own digital product, this is where you give the value pieces, right? Just, little things that your product solves, how you solved them, things of that nature. If you're reselling somebody else's product, great. Take a feature and why you like it and why it's so important to you. Some of these people that are reselling digital products, they make me laugh because it's like, yo, like, if a person that has made $100,000 with that product and you've only made $500 and you're saying the exact same thing as them, you leave the buyer no choice but to go with the person that made the most money, right? He's over here saying beginner friendly program. You're saying beginner friendly program. They're saying, hey, it's automated system. You're saying automated system. Both of you are saying the same thing. So I'm going to go with the person that made the most money. But now, if he's saying, hey, there's an automated system and I'm doing the benefits of an automated system and why I chose to have that automated system, the why is the most crucial part. What you need to understand is that your audience is a reflection of you. Does this make sense? So your why is the most crucial part of that. Why did you do it? Not just because it's automated. Okay, why is that important though? Well, seeing as how I'm a single parent, working a crazy ass job, and then I got to get home and I got to take care of two kids. I needed something that was a little bit more automated. So, it was working in the background for me while I was able to manage, my regular life and my 9 to 5. Now, that person that has a 9 to 5 has a few kids and it feels like they don't have time for a side hustle, but wants to make more money. You just spoke to them. You just spoke to them because they were sitting there on the sideline wondering what they should do. So your why helps. Last but not least, results. Proof, testimonials, maybe your own results. You know what I mean? Preferably your own results, right? But I do understand, you know what I mean? It depends on where you're at. Testimonials or anything of that nature. Now, the reason why we want to do this is because people are always still somewhat skeptical. And people have this whole idea of if I see others doing it too, then I want to be a part. It's weird, right? If they only see one, or if they only hear about one person doing it, they're kind of like, okay, I guess I'll follow. But if they hear like more people are doing it or winning, then they want to be a part of that. And preferably what you want to do is try to utilize AKA a story, right, with the results. So it can be your own personal results tied to your story, but somebody else's testimonial of either utilizing your product or something tied to their story too. And what do I mean by that? This works wonders if you're in the make money online niche, right? Meaning, do you just want to hear that somebody made $10,000 a month? Pretty exciting, right? Or would you rather hear how they went through a divorce, got into about $20,000 in debt, found this program, climbed out of debt, was able to quit their job in a matter of 3 or 4 months and consistently make $10,000 to $20,000 a month. Wow. Now that's a story that makes me want to be a part of it. Remember, facts tell, stories sell. So, anyways, yes, I would have different pieces of content. Yes, I would get around people in my niche and kind of see what type of content they're making. However, I would be making sure that out of the 2 to 3 pieces of content that I post each and every day, I am really going to go heavy in these 3 areas. Now, here's the other thing. The fact that content nowadays is not based around followers, you could keep on posting these in different ways. For instance, I had a lady who was trying to sell her product and she was working 12-hour days and she couldn't sell it for shit. So I told her to start telling her story. And I said, look, if the video doesn't do that great, change your hook, change the delivery, meaning change like your angle or the way that you're saying it, right? So she took it literally, and I'm proud of her. So one video, she said, $10,000 $10,000 gone overnight. That's what happened to me when I got laid off. That video did okay. The very next video, 6-figure income gone, tons of debt, da 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 da. That was me when I got laid off from my job, blah 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 blah. So she almost said the exact same thing, just a little bit differently, a little bit different of a tone, right? The second video got her way more views, way more leads, way more everything. Because we live in a different type of social media. Like a lot of you probably post one time and you think, I can't say that again because now everybody has already heard it. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. And a lot of times they got to hear it multiple different ways anyways, so you're good to go. But that's what I'm trying to tell you right now is though I would throw in a few different types of content, I would stick around these 3 types heavily, right? And you can even find this in almost anything that you do. YouTube, Instagram, those 3 things always seem to work. Last but not least, I would be using my TikTok stories every day, each and every day, once a day, Instagram stories or TikTok stories. I would be posting something about my business once a day. And I think of stories as like reality TV with commercials, right? So I'm going to give them a little bit of my day, a little bit of my insight, behind the scenes, whatever, and then talk about my business. And then I'm going to go back to maybe a little bit more about my day and then about my business again. And I never stop at least talking about my business once a day. Once a day, all right? I mean, now, if you don't even want to make that many types of stories, that's fine. It should be, at least once a day, you do mention your business, all right? Because you have to keep banging this out. You have to be relentless with your message. Being relentless with your message, it allows allows the person to be stay on top of mind, but also it just helps because most people need to see things a few different times, but also they start to believe you more if they keep on seeing it and seeing it and seeing it. And you never know where people are at when they're watching social media anyways. What do I mean by that? At one moment, they could be having a wonderful day and they're just on their work break and they're just scrolling through TikTok or Instagram like nothing, right? And they just see it and they're like, oh, it'd be nice to make some extra money. And then another day, they might be having a bad day. A bill just hit them. And then here you come in, right? And they're like, man, I might need to look into that, right? And then it's like, but they pick themselves back up. And then here comes another day where they're like, oh man, that's that business. I really need to look at that tonight. And so they have every plan to look at your business that night or your digital product that night. And then what happens? Netflix is calling, kids are crying, whatever, dinner is calling. Okay, cool. Then they see you again. Oh yeah, man, I really need to do this. See what I mean? So you got to be relentless with the message over and over and over. And that's why I'm saying I don't think you should spread so far out, right? Yeah, it's fun. It's fun to get a whole bunch of views on one video and all that stuff. But then guess what you do, right? Now they're only following you for your dog stuff. Sounds great. But now they don't look at you as the person that can help them with their problem, right? And so that's why I would be a little bit leery about how far my content goes. Hey, one video here and there, right? Yeah. But the majority of your videos should be around those three things. And those three things should be showing up in your TikTok or Instagram stories as well. Now, you can utilize the live feature on TikTok. I would say Monday through Friday at a specific time, the best that you can. However, if you don't want to, you do not have to. Seriously. I do think in the very beginning, live is very beneficial, but once you really perfect your content, you can actually kind of slow down. But anyway, last but not least, on all my content, I'm going to pretty much have a call to action. The reason why I want to have the call to action is because I want them to take an action to do something to then where I can hurry up and get them the information by either sending them a message, or if I don't have enough followers, or sending them to my website, whatever, it doesn't matter, making it very easy. And then I'm going to stay very consistent with this process. Hopefully you're building an email list so you can send out emails too. But if you don't have an email list, that is okay as well. However, emails is just another way that you can stay on top of their mind, because now you're creating content, you're showing up in your stories, and then you're emailing them. Think about that. Now, do you have to keep on engaging and all that good stuff like everybody tells you to? It helps to probably do it a few minutes a day. I would do it around your target audience, but otherwise, you don't have to do it as much as you think you do. A few minutes a day can go very, very far, and that's really all you need to do. And this is what it takes to see $10,000 months selling digital products, right? Generally speaking, you want to build around those pieces of content. Now, if you want more help with this, okay, if you want me to show you exactly how to work on your mindset and really double in on the frameworks of producing content, or maybe even opening up the gap to Instagram and YouTube, then you definitely want to click the link below to get inside of my app. Most Won't We Will, where I try to give you training on those avenues, right? Whatever is going to be best for you. Now, I do not think you should be everywhere, not in the beginning. I highly recommend either choosing Instagram or TikTok, preferably TikTok if you know what I mean, to make things easier on you, because TikTok you can kind of really get out there faster. And then down the road, I would highly suggest that you start doing a YouTube channel as well, because then you can get into just posting once and twice a week, and you can be building your business right there. It's only down the road, right, when you're doing this full time or something, then or you get a team or something, then you can start implementing um, more platforms, right? But right now, pick your poison: Instagram, TikTok. In this video, we talked about just TikTok, which is where I would really start if I were you. It makes it so much easier to get it out there. And then you can start building a YouTube channel as well. So anyways, hope you found this very beneficial. Go ahead and subscribe or click the link below to get inside of my app.